All right, we're live with Leah, and we'll be doing the Mercury retrograde. I'm going to remove like all the planets basically because they're not relevant. If they become relevant, I'll put them in.
All right.
Maybe I'll keep the sun. No, I'll even get rid of the sun for now.
Okay.
Okay. Wow, how clean.
Easy peasy.
Exactly. So, Leah, what is happening in these past 2 weeks?
It's a lot of emotional relief. I won't even lie. I feel like I've been very uh like just in my own space, kind of like self-reflective, kind of on my own a bit more, and a little bit being more comfortable, being safe, expressing my emotions more publicly, and like um I've been working on my business and launching that as well, and trying to take it at a little bit more of my own pace. I've been dealing with some relationship stuff too, grieving a lot of things in that realm as well, grieving some past stuff that I've been holding on to quite a bit because I feel like I hold on to a lot of memory. Um, and yeah, just kind of like transitioning and trying to stay unstuck basically. um yeah, so that's kind of like the summary on a broader view. uh
Okay,
yeah.
so let's start with the first one.
Mhm.
Um, Sharing emotions publicly. Where and why?
Well, I would say for me it's is in my immediate environment, like is the best way I can describe it, like family, friends, um and just like being more okay with my personal truth has been something that's been difficult for me because I feel like I need to be super, I tend to be cautious and caring, like need to be caring about whether I'm considering someone else's side enough. But then what happens is like I end up being kind of like not myself in a way. So I'm trying to just be more personally honest within like relationships, even within my own career. Like, is this even what I want? Is it emotionally fulfilling? Do I feel good about it? Or, because I think of it more conditionally, like, um, it's an intellectually fulfilling kind of field or something like that. But how do I nurture myself at the same time within my internal environment? How do I feel safe and secure, my nervous system, and just trying to get my routine together a bit more, nutrition, all these things. Just taking care of myself and my body a bit better and making it okay for other people to like own that a bit more, because I do consulting, I do marketing, I do all that kind of stuff. I've done that for like 6 years now, and I'm kind of going into an entrepreneurial journey now, and I'm trying to blend in more of a um, human forward, conscious kind of way of thinking about business and marketing and these kind of things, using communications, using teamwork, thinking about service, things like that, and just being okay with the fact that I value those kind of things versus just make money off of people and that's it. Like, how do you actually speak to the humanity of someone? What are their needs, on like a human basis at home or whatever it is that the brand or the business may be answering to. So I've been trying to like reflect on those kind of aspects more, if that makes sense, and been experimenting and mentalizing and thinking about like how to create a model that takes those things into consideration, and making sure that's part of the culture of how I want to help people. Um, and being okay with my sensitivity in that sense, because like, you know, I think with cancer, it's like those sensitivities can feel like, you know, living from your heart, wanting to serve, and those kind of things can feel like a weakness almost, and instead of a strength, or you know, it's not going to get you in front of everybody or the competition, all these things. So I'm trying to shed my conditioning around like success, and just doing it through pure like capitalist patriarchal like values and things, and just like how do I create intimacy, connection, um using my feelings a bit better, because not in a manipulative way, because I know marketing can use psychology in a lot of ways too to manipulate, but to actually help people is kind of like what I've been obsessing about, and kind of just like being a little bit more okay with owning that versus what I've been taught, which is a little bit inverted, if that makes sense. And I'm still exploring that. Yeah.
But so, um, help me get some context. Are you still working? Are you working for a company at the moment?
No, I used to work for like, I was a marketing director for a startup before this, and a couple other in-house kind of marketing roles. And now I've just been launching my own startup, and like uh I've done a few other freelance projects more in like the art wellness space and kind of nurturing those brands. So I'm kind of like a fractional brand consultant, and I have a few like nonprofits and stuff I'm working with right now, and just um, doing it a little bit more on my own and taking it at my pace, and like working with people at their own pace as well.
Since when are you transitioning?
I actually officially like it's probably May this year where I fully like was I left us I was doing a sales management job for like 6 days a week, 10, 12 hours, and then I was like attracting a lot of clients and people who were asking for things within my own personal network and community. And then I was like, I need to take a leap of faith and actually like start answering to these requests, because I feel like I'm ready now. So yeah, it's been about like a couple months now.
Okay, that makes me think about your Saturn return very much because I guess it was exact in May. Let's
Oh,
just have a look. Yeah,
yeah.
well, actually in April.
Yeah.
Right, so becoming an entrepreneur, Aries,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's like also stationing square your Mercury. Okay, maybe we'll get into that. I'm just gonna remove him quick. Sorry, Saturn. Um, okay. So what I'm hearing is you came from, well, kind of like the old world, old consciousness marketing, and you're trying to apply something new. And that's the part that I don't really understand because I'm not in that world.
Yeah. So basically, it's like the training you get is to think of things always for profit. And it's like push marketing is really about how can you get, get, you know? And like, I think the best approach for even sales is like really observing and listening to what people
Mm.
need. And so that's the best way I've been able to sell. The best feedback I get personally using my cancer like traits is being a listener, being someone who cares, and those kind of things, and like actually solves a problem with a solution that's available that fits the person, versus just being like, because people can feel when you're just like, you know, like just trying to push a solution that doesn't actually fit them, and you're not actually connecting to them. So I think the
Mhm.
humanity is being lost in business in a sense, and I want to move in more conscious ways.
So what are you working on right now?
I have a couple projects I'm working on right now. So one of them is for an artist band. I worked with one of the members in the past in-house before, and they're a local Bay Area artist queer band, and basically helping them with their first album launch and music release as well. I went to Berklee College of Music, so music business is like my forte.
Mm.
In entertainment marketing for a while. And then I went in a bit more into the wellness field. So I'm working with two wellness brands as well. One of them is a nonprofit that is launching more services and solutions around healing that's based on like the energy of the cell, the mitochondria, and how those solutions and research around that can help people one-on-one. And there's a lot of people who have already like seen benefits through that. And the other one is more like wellness tech gear type of stuff, which I'm really nerdy about as well. So for me, it's working with these founders one-on-one is like either I work with them in short bouts where I help them launch a new program or new product, or like right now, for instance, there's an app that we're developing, which is actually a human design inspired astrology app that's more wellness oriented, a little more closer to the anatomy of the body and personalized. So for me, using messaging and like how it connects to people and how it's going to help them is like how I like to connect with the founder, getting the strategy together. And for me, the core thing is creating the strategy so that, you know, we have all the assets together, we know where we're at and what resources we have available to speak to the masses, and also create a minimal viable product launch type thing, and the messaging around it, the content around it, and that kind of thing. So obviously using a lot of my Mercury in 10th house kind of thing to like speak the message out, make sure it speaks to humans and the heart, is basically what I do. So I move in like 4 phases where I help kind of like diagnose what the blocks and needs are of the brand or the launch and what the goals are, and you know, break down the key performance indicators, set up tracking, all these kind of things, and the messaging, the content, and then go on like on ongoing kind of consultancy to make sure we're still staying in the direction of the goal and that the audience is responding in a way that it's helpful for them.
Okay, I'm feeling the Cancer a lot. I'm feeling your birthday a lot, right? Because you're starting a new year. So it's like new goals, new ways of doing things. The retrograde I heard only in a few places. For example, where you said that the artist you're working with is someone you've worked with before in-house, but now you're working with them individually to help them launch.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, what are you rethinking about how you're doing business at the moment?
So I think I'm at a place where I'm very like close to getting a standard model of like how an independent marketing agency is supposed to operate in like the normal world, but and just functioning with the latest technologies, AI, whatever, right? But now I'm kind of like trying to integrate more, either now or in the immediate future, more like um I think my block is just trying to integrate more of the, I want to do more like psychology one-on-one with people, because I feel like sometimes people, founders especially, have blocks emotionally, mentally, when it comes to like
Uh-huh.
being independent and being like, you know, removing their anxieties, these kind of emotional blockages and the beliefs behind them. That's something I want to like integrate a bit more into my practice. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I even want to do like traditional psychology and counseling, or if it's like more somatic certificate kind of blend with business. So it's like there's a sense of security internally and safety with being an owner, an entrepreneur type thing.
Wait, how long are you um not thinking about this? Since when did you start applying this? Or when did you start beginning like trial running, working in that way with your client? Because I'm looking for the past 2 weeks, right? For the retrograde specifically.
Yeah. So right now, the way I do it is like when I have my sessions with people, when I'm doing like the strategy sessions to build out like the marketing blueprints and things like that, that's when I get to use the talk them through some of these blocks emotionally, mentally, because I can see when I'm talking to someone one on one where they're like stagnant and that kind of thing, and work them through to like comfort them through the strategy, if
Wait,
that
can
makes
you give me a concrete example of someone you've talked to just recently?
Yeah, so just for example, with the artist group that I was telling you about, one of the members, she was feeling very like overwhelmed with all of the ideas and goals that she had in her head. And for me, it was very important to like assure her that part of what I'm here to help her do is to help ground her vision into a strategy, because sometimes people feel like they don't have, like, they want to do everything but they don't know where to start and they're spread thin. And it's like, for me, grounding the resources, grounding like, hey, if we can accomplish this first milestone together, then that's going to birth the next phase of like
Mm-hmm.
growth, you know. So for me, nurturing the needs of people, almost, it's like it's financially fulfilling but also emotionally at the same time, and that growth can be incremental and that we can celebrate the small wins along the way,
Okay, so
just to like structure that basically.
okay, so what I'm hearing is that there is a growing sense of intimacy between you and your clients where you're actually getting close to them and understanding them on a personal level rather than just, oh, here's the marketing and whatever, do that. So it
Yeah.
feels much more personable, like familiar.
Yeah, that's, I like that family kind of vibe almost, that like, because I feel like people there is a gap in a sense that like I feel like I can answer to that. I naturally do that in my career. It's just part of my nature to want to comfort people in that way, but not in just like an illusion, but like this is the practical way we're going to ground ourselves, because I think people feel unstable in a sense that they don't like, yeah, have a space to ground themselves and like feel a sense of self-confidence and that kind of stuff about what they're doing, you know. And kind of like also just comparing themselves with where they're supposed to be compared to other people or their future version of themselves. So like I think the emotional aspect of success is as important as how we like prepare ourselves financially and all these things.
Mhm. And I guess you didn't do that in your previous marketing career, or you didn't have the chance.
Yes, like I'm trying to do that for myself and learn that for myself, while through experience share what I do through content or through one-on-ones, to be like, yo, when your energetic approach is coming from lack and all these kind of things, then it's going to affect your output and how you actually end up connecting to people, because relationships are a big part of business at the same time. So like, you know, when a brand comes out to the public, it is a relationship with the public at the same time. So if a brand is coming off unstable too, it's a reflection of the team, of the founder, and these kind of things. So how can we, you know, stay grounded? And I'm still experimenting with that, like making that more practical, because it's like a bridge. But yeah, it's fun, but it's like it's a little
Okay,
weird. I'm still
there
learning.
I feel the retrograde. But I also feel the moon very much, your moon in Taurus, because you're talking a lot about grounding and stability and somatics, right? Okay.
Yeah, like when
Okay,
you're where you're most afraid, how can we go there and like find comfort or like answer to that shadow or whatever it may be?
okay.
Yeah.
Are you about to launch anything? Like shortly, like in the next few days? Is there some kind of transition happening?
I'm actually trying to I have a website, but I wanted to refresh it because from the past, yeah. So it's like kind of a rebirth to express like, okay, I'm doing this entrepreneurial thing. At least like having my links together. I have a whole, you know, operational workflow for my business and stuff together. So that's nice. It was part of a gift for myself for my birthday and stuff. So yeah, just like rebranding myself really at the same time.
Okay,
Yeah.
there I feel the retrograde
Yeah.
in the 10th, yeah. The rebrand in the 10th house. But also, like, do you plan to launch that in the next few days, actually?
Yeah, whether I'm on track is another question. But at least I can get like my main booking links and presentation together. Like I have my LinkedIn and everything already set up. So I've been working on that, my portfolio. So yeah, like having the outward presentation, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the results that I've, put out so far. And so I'm very sensitive. Like for me, I'm still working through my internal battles at times of like, oh, can I do it? I get overwhelmed and da, da, da. But like, one step at a time as I'm learning for myself at the
Get
same time.
overwhelmed with what?
Just like, I guess for me, it's the performance of like, is this gonna be sufficient or helpful enough for a person and their brand or whatever? And like, the perfectionist kind of mentality for me, I think it's a bit overwhelming. Uh,
Like, are you gonna get the results they're looking for?
yeah, but it's like nothing's perfect, and I have to like kind of remind myself and others at the same time. And I'm like, I'm a true partner, so
Like what? What's not perfect, for example, right now?
like sometimes I have deadlines and things I want to be on track with, but then I'm like super idealistic, and then I'm also trying to learn how to ground myself and my timeline, my brand, and all these things, but
What
also
deadline are you having right now that you're thinking about?
launching my website. Like,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
exactly, launching my website and stuff. So it's like if I don't hit that, at least I can have other things that I've accomplished.
When is your deadline for your launching your website?
It was actually my birthday, which was yesterday.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So, okay, there's two things coming up for me. One of them is Saturn squaring
Mm,
your Mercury stationing there. That makes me think about it's taking you longer. The other thing is like, okay, so when it's about the retrograde, I just want to show you something. I'm going to go back a few days just so you see it, right? What happens during the retrograde is that Mercury is going through a phase change. He's transitioning because he goes from one side of the sun to the other. So now I'm going to start moving forward and just watch what Mercury's doing, okay? So notice how he gets closer to the sun, he
mhm.
changes sides. Yeah? So when he's doing that, that's the transition that you're also going through. And we
Wow.
tried to identify, so what is that transition? In this case, we looked at you're refreshing your website, you're redoing your descriptions online, like LinkedIn that you said, and there's like a new, like world-facing person that's emerging from that process. That's what I heard so far.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, good. So it seems reasonable that the website should launch around the time the Mercury station's direct, because that's when you're ready to like move forward, right? Everything is set in place. Now let's apply. So it seems also reasonable that you didn't complete it by the time of the birthday. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
What else can you notice that is going through this kind of transition?
I am still working on some parts of my like operations within like the model of my business. I'm very close to like having a really good foundation. Like I'm using the first few projects as an independent entrepreneur to really foolproof the model and move people through stages. And so that's cool. I get a lot of feedback through that.
Oh, okay. These are
Yeah.
your first projects, these three.
Yeah, like as an entrepreneur, I've done freelance, but like that was like for me, I didn't personally like see that as like,
Ah,
my brand.
okay.
Yeah.
When did you start with these three?
So I started with these three just when I left the last job that I had. So that was May. I was like,
Okay, so it's been like a few months in the making.
yes, exactly.
Okay, I get it. Okay, I feel the Mercury retrograde in that because it's like, well, you used to do work a certain kind of way, and
Yes,
now
and
it's
I'm so
almost like
like,
relearning, redoing everything in your own kind of way and feeling out the edges of that it's just different for you even. And also having maybe some like small doubts because you're creating your own process that's kind of unfamiliar to how you were trained. That's kind of what I'm picking up.
yeah, like I do really well getting feedback through either relationships through internal workspaces or like through the client. So I'm trying to leverage that, but it's definitely uncomfortable because I'm not used to just doing it on my own in that way, freelance, whatever. As
Okay.
and like, the conditioning of like safety of like, being in-house in a company in a corporate environment is like it's safe, and it's like this is different because I have to be responsible for nurturing my own relationships and stuff like that. So, but still,
Oh,
I'm like, girl, okay, you could do that.
I
Yeah.
see, because you have to get closer to people before you were part of a more anomalous entity. And so you
Yeah.
didn't have that super close it didn't fall on you.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes me
It's,
think about your Saturn return very much again in the seventh house, right? The
mhm.
independent relationships to other people, nurturing them by yourself, being responsible, like directly for those one-on-one contacts and the outcomes those people are going to get, right? So the extra pressure that you feel since May, the Saturn return in the seventh. Does that make sense?
Yep. It's
Okay.
it's like a nagging pressure, but it's like that's what it takes. So, I have to get used to it, like a habit, because I have
Okay.
it's
So in these 2 weeks, okay, because you also said there was some stuff happening with family. I want to hear about that. What are you releasing, talking about, getting out from yourself, from the past?
so my entire family is like corporate or not, you know.
Okay. Okay.
You're an engineer or a doctor, like just very traditional. And I'm like the first one trying to do entrepreneurial, creative things, type things. And it's for me, it's like I have to let go of the validation of like my loved ones around me, my family, like, them being like, assuring me that it's gonna be okay because it's like I kind of have to let go of knowing that it's gonna be okay and the safety of like just subscribing to how everyone does it, if that makes sense. And
What are they saying to you specifically?
well, it's more so like questions, which I think are constructive questions from some of them, like, do you have this lined up? Da, da, da. What if this happens? And in the past, I feel like I would have been a lot more reactive and been like, you just want to block me from, trying something. Da, da, da. And um, just like like things like, oh, I could never do that. I would never feel comfortable, like their own opinions basically of being an entrepreneur and that it's just not reasonable, basically. Yeah, like, but at the same time, I don't share too much, especially now. So there's less feedback that I'm getting. I'm just in my own realm, building what I need to build and being selective with how much I'm sharing. And there are a couple people in my family who are like doing their own thing, started experimenting with their own businesses and stuff. So, I get to open up to them a bit more and feel a little more safe and stuff. But for me specifically, I think my responsibility is not taking it in a way that like maybe they're against me or whatever, because I could read into it a bit more or like need the
But
love.
who specifically, and what are they saying to you? And
Um,
think about think about the past days, past week, max.
yeah. Well, lately, like the last couple 2 weeks, I would say they've actually been a lot more supportive and I'm more surprised. And I think it's because the way I'm communicating is different. Like I'm communicating like my step-by-step progress and like what I'm actually doing to, make it work and what I believe in and like what I want to do and who I'm working with and getting them more involved in the process, even if it's like, like they're not sure. And just for me, I think being less emotionally reactive and more stable within myself is giving them a sense of assurance versus my past version, which would just be like, again, like not really um just like kind of like get emotional whenever they didn't really believe in my vision or whatever it would be.
Mm,
Yeah.
so that tells me that your family is kind of career oriented, like as a unit.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's always been something emphasized, I guess.
Definitely like education, academics, being successful. It's like it's very much a thing.
Okay, so that's been like a point of friction for you with them, historically.
Yes, because I also feel like the values were kind of skewed similarly to like what I was saying is societally, I feel like the main thing people subscribe to is sell, make as much money, and just like there's a little bit of a gap of like how I feel about running my business, how I want to work with people and that kind of thing, versus and like turning more towards community versus just corporate, get a Tesla, get all the things, like show for yourself what you have versus how you help. And
Oh.
trying to be more like comfortable and less ashamed of being that way, if that makes sense, because I feel like the majority of people are conditioned that way, including familial people around me who feel like there's a sense of safety to subscribe to that. And I feel like they get it though when I describe it in like, this actually heals me, this heals myself, and when I heal myself, I'm healing my bloodline. When I'm healing my understanding of money making and abundance and attraction through the emotional lens, like, whoa, we never thought about this, and like there's a lot of emotional issues between like my parents and things like that, so it's like awareness around those things. As I almost did psychology instead, but like I feel like there's a deep attachment to what you have resourcefully, monetarily, with your emotional realm too, in a sense, like your survival instincts and those kind of things. The root pressure, competition, all these things. So I'm just
So
yeah.
so you're having the same conversations that you used to have around money, work, business, etc. But what I'm hearing is that currently the conversations are starting to take a different shape, and you're more calm, you're more resourceful with how you speak, and therefore you're having better conversations.
Yeah. I feel like I'm having also just clearer boundaries about like, hey, no, that's not how I'm gonna like subscribe to that thought of thinking. Like, I don't think it's constructive. I'm 30 now. Like, I don't know. Like, it's okay. Like, I've tried it this way. Like, I think when I was younger, me and my dad did like a sales thing together, and like you could see how people relate to like how you're trying to sell again through just needing something out of someone versus like, again, how do you listen and use these nurturing kind of tendencies, and like
Mhm,
how we create
mhm.
attraction and pull marketing, which is a new type of marketing instead of push marketing. And so I really believe in that, and I'm just being more stern about my own beliefs a bit more without fighting, without creating war, because I did create war and I would see red, and it would just get in my own way, and like,
Okay, do you hear your Saturn now in the
I
seventh
do.
Aries? Okay. And also that he's squaring your son Mercury. It's a wide square, but it doesn't matter. I hear it very strongly.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like trying to be stern, but I'm still scared that I'm not being caring enough. So I don't know if that's like you
Okay. Okay.
like, did it
That
hurt? I'm
makes me
like,
think about,
respectfully, no, but I'm sorry, did I hurt you?
okay, do you see now the square of Saturn and Aries in the seventh?
Yes,
And
so
Mercury in Cancer. O-
yeah.
Okay. The sternness versus the caring. And not creating war, but being firm, right? So there's like this major evolution that's happened. Of course, because it's your Saturn return.
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable. But it's really rewarding to look at both, because it's like I can communicate these things in more caring ways without compromising what I want at the same time. Like, you know?
Okay, you said that you're also grieving the loss of a partner. Did I hear correctly?
Yeah.
Who?
So it's my ex. Yeah, I don't even know how to like dive
When
into.
did you separate?
We officially separated last May as well. So it's been a
25 or
year.
26? 25.
25, yeah. So it's been on and off. We're still like in communication and stuff like that.
Oh,
And I've been trying to repair, because basically what I did was I went on his phone behind his back because I had trust issues, and I'm still healing through past pain and like war between my past relationships and even my like in my environment within my family. There was a lot of arguing and war patterns and just assuming the worst of each other, being enemies. And I feel like I inhabited the same traits, but at the same time I feel like I'm learning to, again, in that romantically, not just in business as well, is like, how do I stay stern and communicate what my needs are, what I want, while also considering the other and like trying to balance. Is a headache, and I'm still healing through it, but it's been very tough relationship to heal from, I would say, for sure.
Okay, you went on his phone and what? You found something or you didn't find anything?
I thought I found something. I thought I found that like the women that we were friends with or hanging out with, there was like a romantic interest or something in the past, and I felt like I needed the transparency to feel safe, which is like all in my head, which took me hell a long time to realize. Like, okay, you could have communicated that that's what you needed instead of doing that behind his back and being a more in your intuition, stability,
Uh,
those things, and like been a little bit more mature about it. But I was not seeing it like that at the time. I was like, no, I'm right. He should have been like more honest, da, da, da. And now I'm trying to like balance out both. But I feel like I swing between extremes of like my perspective and theirs. And I'm trying to find more of like equality. And but yeah, it's like I'm also trying to learn that I can't control whether or not someone wants to be open, honest, or stay in a relationship with me, and that kind of thing.
hold on a minute. Now, how is that relevant now, this week?
This week, um, this week I've been I've definitely been crying a lot. First off, on my cancer, so I'm
Why?
just
What are you crying about?
like letting go of like the fact that I think I took it personally that this person, because they have their own preferences and things, could not, we couldn't, we didn't fit in certain ways. And for me, I'm trying to like not be so, I get hurt by that, like in a sense that I make it personal, or that they lied to me the whole time and like come up with these kind of stories or whatever. And so I'm trying to let go of those narratives, as well as like um my perspective of them, and just see their humanity a bit better, so that I can heal and not hold on to the like negativity of the situation as much, and really let go of like, hey, if they want to choose you, they're going to choose you. You can't make people choose, you know what I mean? And to love myself, like a self-worth kind of thing, where it's like you're okay on your own, even if they can't see that you're someone that they can forgive, and all these kind of things. So it's a lot of like heart
Uh-huh.
kind of.
Okay, that's what so he can't forgive you. Because why now? What I want to understand, why now? Why are you crying about that now? Because it's a year ago and more. So for me, it's like, isn't it over? Okay, you said you kept in contact, right? So the context that's missing for me is what happened in the past week that's making you grieve right now.
Because I feel like we've been trying through it, and now it feels more like he's finally like, I need to go, and I need to like like it feels like he's not staying, you know? Or
Okay.
I'm like, I'm attached, and like, like no.
So it's been like an awkward, like trying to be together for the previous year, even though you're apart like that.
Well, actually, we actually broke up, and then it was like I was with someone and he was with someone, and we're kind of still working through the emotional like trauma of it all. And then now it's like it feels this last week, like you're saying, for me, how I'm perceiving it is that he doesn't want this. And it's like I have to like be okay with someone needing space or something like that, and not taking it personally and being emotional about it, which is hard because it's like this is someone I really love and care about, and it's like, what else can I do to make it better? And I can change and I can do these things, but like it's just gonna, sometimes you gotta like I need to have more faith about what's right is supposed to be right. But my
Mhm.
that's like my higher mind, but my primal emotional side is like, it hurts so much. And like I don't allow myself to feel the pain sometimes, and it's just I feel it in my body somatically, in my hips and all these things. It's like I'm not letting myself grieve. So it's also stored grief from the last year.
Okay. So what did he tell you in the past week that made you realize that?
So yeah, without exposing too much, is just like he was like a part of me needs to go because I feel like, I don't for me how I've read it was like I don't want this genuinely. I feel like I've been doing this out of thinking that I'm supposed to do this and it's what's right, but I don't genuinely want it. And so it feels for me like, oh my gosh, was this whole relationship a lie because you weren't authentic and I wasn't authentic or whatever,
Oh.
trying to please each other the whole time instead of like being emotionally honest about our needs or whatever it may be. And like, did you choose me to like, comfort me or whatever? And I feel like he finally got to a point where, which I'm really happy, like I really want him to be able to do that for himself, but it still stings to like hear it because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's probably one of the truths that I felt intuitively, but like I needed him to say it instead of forcing it or assuming it because when I assume the worst, and then that created friction and argument and all these things. I'm like, do you really want this, or are you just here? Like, you're checking with your friends or whatever. If you really wanted it, you wouldn't want to check with your friends. And if I really wanted it, I wouldn't be doubting this. So I think there's a lot of personal self exploration that needs to be done. And so I need to release him and myself from like
Uh-huh.
putting a label on it and just like allowing ourselves to just be in our own energetic field. He's also a water sign, so like he needs to go through his emotions and I need to go through mine. Um
Uh-huh. So what I'm hearing is that after he's told you that, I guess part of the grief is like remembering everything that's happened between you, like just reminiscing on the past, thinking about all the things that went wrong, all the things that went right, all the things that you shared, kind of like that.
yeah, like there's
Okay.
so much like beautiful memories about it that were so true. There's also a lot of things that were misaligned, so it's like hard because you want forever with this person, but there's things that were like distorted almost through it at the same time, and that needs time to work out and heal because it's personal. It's like our own traumas that we haven't really like looked at, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
like working on vulnerability is a big thing because it hurts when you're there. And I suck at it too. So it's like, yeah, I think the way we were going through so many fights the last year when we broke up until the breakup. And it reminds me of how my parents were too, because it's like where you could be soft and vulnerable with each other, you just blow up instead of learning how to communicate and say what you mean and feel safe within each other's presence and those kind of things. It's just so much trauma internally about those kind of that being able to be like that with somebody. Um, he even had a heart attack through that. So I feel a lot of
Oh.
guilt about like him losing his life over my behavior. So a lot of that has been a grief for me because I feel like, he could have not been here to this point after me going through his phone, betraying him, after he had gone through so much stuff from his past too, betrayals that he's also mentioned recently that like it's not just you. Finally he was like, it's not just you, it's also all these other people. It's accumulated stress on his body. But I was like the final straw, like the person that went behind his back and wasn't like consistent, because of my own humanity and flaws and stuff that I couldn't speak on and did handled it in very bad ways. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. I'm feeling the Saturn return in the seventh very much. also that you don't get to be with that person, or at least not now, or maybe not ever, right? So that it comes to an end just exactly at this period. What I also see therefore is like, oh, interesting. There's a lot of space opening up. Also with your solar return, I feel that, right? Because it's a new year, totally new energy coming in.
Hmm.
And the retrograde, of course,
I
is like, huh? Oh,
don't know what's gonna happen this year around. Like this is the first time I felt like I'm completely on the unknown. Like I don't know at all.
yeah.
Comfortable.
Interesting. So it's kind of like, okay, what I'm hearing is because him and your work are in fact connected, because it's all around the relating patterns you had inherited from your family and from the corporate world, like from the old consciousness. It feels like that release that's happening these weeks is like on all levels, kind of.
Yes, like I feel like I'm dying, like an old identity is being
Mm.
he also taught me because he is very independent, entrepreneurial, those kind of things. He's in the medicine world. He's a body worker, all these things. And it's like his mindset is so strong and he's already fortified a strong boundary with his family and these things. And like he had really strong hopes and expectations on me to be able to do that. So when I wasn't able to show up as a partner to protect that kind of lifestyle with him, it's like he has those standards. And I also want that, but I'm still like not at that level because I haven't practiced it as much. And we also have projects we're working on, you know, like I always wanted to work with my partner, you know, to do business with my partner. And so, yeah, it's definitely interlinked for sure. And there's some boundaries with that as well,
Mm.
with how the evolution of the relationship has been going. But I believe in like what he's working on and building, and I'm just supporting him even on a business partnership level and keeping it coordinated.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And then yeah, like I've also become more boundaried about like how physically intimate I get with people quickly, because it's not good for me to like confuse the lines of like I need slowness. I need time to get to know a person and what are we aligned, our intentions, our values, or like all these things. Obviously, you see Aries in the seventh house. I'll be impulsive. Like if there's a
I
connection.
feel the Saturn there, right? But I also feel the juxtaposition with the moon in Taurus, what you're describing, the slowness and the need to get to know a person.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
he is a Scorpio, so it's his sun was opposite, and it's like there was a bit of tension with that because I take things slowly and he's a quick, transformative type of guy. And it's like I feel like I've just tried to be more okay with my nature lately, if that makes sense, because
Hmm.
otherwise I feel my body like being like tight and like take time to pause, slow down. Slowing down doesn't mean you're dumb, like you know, those kind of things. There was a lot of criticism through the relationship throughout the end. He's Virgo moon and Mars is in my 12th house, so there's like unconscious perfectionist stuff going on with myself too there, where I'm like the criticism is there and it triggers me. And so I've been trying to be less attached in terms of like, why am I triggered and reacting to somebody who has their own nature and I have my own, and I don't need the validation as much, you know, like they can be their own person, I can be my own person, and I don't need to like explain myself as much. Like I need to be my Cancer self and all these things, and you know, but it's also important for me to um to receive feedback without being like sensitive and triggered all the time. um yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a very challenging relationship, and I actually wanted a very challenging relationship because I feel like my past ones were not. They were very like, you know, he was very emotionally like open, like he would express his thoughts and feelings very openly and bluntly, but sometimes to an extreme. It's like, oh, did a universe answer you know, overflowing. And I like that challenge, like someone who like puts me not in my place, but like, reflects some things about me towards me and isn't afraid about saying that. But there's also a line to where how much are you projecting yourself and these kind of things. And I need to get better at like having my voice in dynamics wherever I go. Like I even went to therapy for um working on like my authority, like my communication authority kind of work, because I felt like when I say something and it upsets someone, especially emotionally or whatever, I feel like I'm a criminal, or like I've done the worst thing in the whole world or something.
Okay, yeah, for me, it's very much the square between your Mercury and Cancer and Saturn in the seventh Aries.
Yeah, I get eggshelly. But I when I was younger, I didn't give like I was kind of autistic with it. I would just say whatever. But then I started being more cautious when I started considering how it affected people, how it say things and stuff. But yeah, I think the sweet spot for me though is learning how to say what I need to say that is honest in a soft way. So I'm trying to find that balance, and it's working. So I don't need to like attack someone, or I don't need to be too like reclusive. There's like a balance. Yeah.
All right, very good. Let's stop there for today.
That was fun.
Yeah, so do you kind of see on how many levels the retrograde operates simultaneously?
It's crazy like how much past thoughts and memories are like being reflected on in this moment. Like even like exes beyond this person have been messaging me like, going through their own transformations and stuff, and are very like expressive about their emotions lately. And I'm like, what is going on? This is crazy. Like, is the universe trying to teach me something with
I will say that there's also Saturn stationing in exact square to Mercury and Cancer. So that you're thinking about also like your communication and all the ways you went wrong. And I just feel how those two are kind of working together very much. Yeah, right. And also like trying to communicate with your family in a much more mature way and be less emotional and more like contained. Right. So I see the retrograde together with the Saturn square. It's a very strong period for you, obviously.
Yeah, I have a lot of squares overall on my chart, and that one is one of the toughest ones. Yeah, with my family, especially like my mom, there's a big wound there, but I've been working on even on my own outside of communicating to her, like how am I going to respond, but how can I still be honest emotionally about what I need to say instead of being diplomatic and like walking on the eggshells and like going through extremes again. And then it's like, you just kind of shove it under the rug instead of like, I still feel unfulfilled because she doesn't know how I feel and these kind of things. And at the same time, I can't, for me, emotionally, like I have to regulate myself when I can at least accept the fact that I spoke my truth, and I can't control how someone else receives it because they also have, you know, their own experience of life and perspective. And like, I have to get a little less subjective and more objective and see like a bit more. And it helps me stay regulated versus like, oh, I'm just being empathetic and it helps them more, like, no, I've said my truth and I did it, openly and honestly and as respectfully as possible without quieting my voice or being afraid of what they would think or say, and like allow them to have their own authentic reactions as well emotionally, because they, as much as I want that for myself, they should also have that for themselves. Yeah, it's like what I want for myself, like it's a mirror, like I need to give people what I want to get instead of just being the taker, like here you can have it too. It's a safe space.
Very Saturn Mercury. And it's again like the push-pull change in the marketing. It's very similar actually, the pattern. Do you
Yeah,
see it?
it's
Like
a
not pushing things onto people, but just making more space for them. Like
yeah.
what you're doing with your mom and with your communication in general. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording, but you
All
and
right.
I can talk for a few more minutes. All right, so Leah and I are signing out with Mercury retrograde.